Hey everyone, it's Hobo4Craft, aka MrHobo here, and let me just start out by saying I hope everyone had a great New Year's. I hope you have a great resolution that you'll hopefully follow through with. And let's get into this game. It's going to be LiquidRet spawning as the blue Zerg on the bottom left of Xelnaga Caverns. We're going to have oGs on the top right as the red Protoss. I believe both players are playing their main races at this second. I know LiquidRet is just an amazing Zerg player. Even his ladder ranking and his stats speak for themselves. And oGs just very well known as a very good Protoss player. Like I said, they do play all races. You can find replays of both players as any race you'd like. Definitely interesting players for sure, but it looks like right away we're going to get this pylon going down, so we're not going to have a pylon blocking off. This could mean that we're going to get a fast 2 gates, or we're just going to get a normal cybercore gateway block off, which is what I expect. We are getting the scout right away. And really, if you've noticed over time, we do see Protoss players scouting earlier and earlier. I do believe they're going to be staying this way just because they want to have the flexibility if they want to block off your ramp with pylons and throw down that forge if they see that they have the opportunity to do so. If you throw down a hatchery quickly, or they can even have this to block from the hatchery, but we're going to see a 14 15 go down, I believe, for LiquidRet, and it's a very good idea now if you're playing Zerg to actually get the spawning pool first and an extractor just for this exact reason. We actually are going to get that forge going down. We're going to have these 2 pylons blocking off Ret's base, and it looks like he is now going to be scouting this. Very good overlord placement. You want to put it right next to your expo so you can see if anything's going on here, but you also want to be able to scout your ramp. And meanwhile, back at the base of oGs, I do expect a gateway to probably go down in the near future. That way he can send some zealots to defend over here, even after Zerglings or Roaches have been breaking through. But it looks like, yes, we are going to be getting Roaches for Ret. And it looks like this probe is just going to throw down 1 photon cannon and be pretty happy with that. It looks like he did not have a second probe to go into the base and scout, so that's a little bit... Oh, looks like he actually did a little trick to let himself up. Very good play. He's going to be scouting these roaches right now. Did he? No, he actually didn't. I don't know why he didn't go further back into the base. A player of this caliber would know that Zergs love to put their tech buildings at the back of their base. I don't know why he's being so careful. It doesn't matter much if this probe does die. He does need to find out that there are in fact roaches, and he's just teasing the queen, it seems like. And I don't... Is he not going to spot that there are roaches? That could be a big offset for oGs's aggression here, because if he doesn't, there could be an all-in coming. But now he will know that there are roaches, in fact, in the way. But it's just a really good idea to scout what your opponent is teching to. And, well, he found out that he is, in fact, teching. No, he does not figure it out. Just oGs doing a pretty poor job of scouting in general, I would say. But it is so important just to know that your opponent is going roaches earlier, because he could, in fact, make a bunch of roaches, go for an all-in sort of play. And it looks like he is making, in fact... He's going to have about 6 roaches out on the field. That is a lot of roaches, especially when you yourself do not have anything. I would like to see a sentry go down, maybe even 2, and that way you could hold off these roaches for just an immensely long amount of time. But will this roach get away? Yes, very nice micro right there to pull back that roach right there. Will Ret be moving out? Yep, he's going to be moving out, keeping just these 2 Zerglings to pick away at these pylons that are left over. Very good play, and he will be throwing down a hatchery instantly, sending these roaches out for aggression while his expo does build. Just a very good play. It looks like we might get this roach picked off by this one stalker. No, it is kited back very well at the last second, and it will live to spit acid another day. It looks like this last pylon is about to go down. And it's looking pretty good for Ret, though he is probably going to be behind an income. Yes, he's behind a full 5 workers, which is definitely not something you want, but it's what happens when you get your expo cut off from your main and you're not able to expand as quickly, and you have to make roaches to be able to deal with any aggression from the Protoss player. And it looks like, oh, there's barely just a crack for units to come out. And oh no, there are 5 stalkers out on the field, and this is very bad because roaches without speed upgrade are way too slow, and most definitely all these roaches will get picked off. LiquidRet realizes this and decides he better make the most of them while they're alive, and this does not look good for Red at this point. It looks like he's going to need speedlings to be able to deal with these stalkers that very well could come in and cause a lot of havoc and pick off and kite a lot of these zerglings, but I don't know if he's just going to stay back and expo himself or if he's going to push out. I would like to see him actually expo while he's pushing out. That way there's absolutely no way for LiquidRet to do anything about the expo that is going up, but it looks like he's just going to be forgetting about it. And actually we had a Hydralisk Den go down, but then it was canceled. I think this is a pretty wise decision because Hydras are just very hard to get out in a good number, especially early out in the game, especially when you've just gotten your second base up and you haven't even saturated it yet. So I think economically it's very wise for Ret to stick to Roach Zergling at this point. The only problem is oGs could switch to attack of a couple Void Rays, which would definitely wreak a lot of damage, a lot of havoc on the everything of Red, so he has to watch out for stuff like that. Just has to be very good at scouting and using these sacrificial overlords. But surprisingly, oGs is just going to keep it cool and not push out at the second. I do believe he could have done a good bit of damage throwing down force fields at the ramp, just making this expo completely vulnerable, but it looks like we're going to get a little bit of a confrontation. 2 Zerglings do go down, but we're going to back out soon after, just making a lot more roaches for LiquidRet. That is what he needs to do at this point. And it looks like he probably does have speed at this point. Yes, you can just tell by how fast the roaches are now. And they do outrun stalkers. And it looks like he will be picking off some zealots. Just kiting very nicely, but we did get 4 force fields that did allow for 2 roaches to be picked off. It's worth it because it's only mana of sentries. You're not sacrificing any units of your own. That's exactly what force fields need to be used for. He probably could have gotten 1 or 2 more roaches if he had solidified that wall more quickly, but still a good play nonetheless. And oh, this is what I was talking about. We are getting a Stargate down. He actually is going for some Void Rays. He does realize that his opponent is not teching to any sort of anti-air, and this could really just put a hurt on Red if he doesn't realize this quickly enough. He has not sent any overlords into the base, playing blindly, and now he's going to be splitting up his army very wisely, trying to draw some force fields. Will he be able to do so? And it looks like oGs is going to be going into a defensive mode, going to be throwing down a wall right here. Looks like this photon cannon will be picked off, and now we're just getting a lot of stalkers focused down. A bunch of these roaches have gone down. I want to say about 6 roaches have gone down, and this wall just staying up. A whole wall of force fields around this entire army of oGs, and what is LiquidRet doing? He's just attacking this Nexus over here. He did not play that very well at all, but it looks like the last of the sentries are going to go down. There's still a good amount of Zerglings that are surrounding these stalkers, and they are being attacked and just surrounded from all sides. Even the pylons, not the pylons, the probes are coming into the mix, and it looks like we have dealt with the last of the roaches with this Void Ray, but now he's just going for the Nexus. Will he be able to take it out with these last Zerglings? Surely he will be able to. Oh, there it goes down. And that is definitely worth those extra Zerglings deaths to pick that off. And in the meantime, he was able to get up another Queen to be able to deal with this Void Ray that certainly will be coming and harassing. And it looks like he's only had 1 Void Ray out. Now, oGs has all these extra, all of these extra harvesters with which he can't do anything really, and we even see LiquidRet ahead in income, amazingly enough, even though he's down by 14 harvesters. So just amazing play, very, very smart play by Ret at this point. But we're actually getting Observer out finally for the Protoss player here, oGs, and this Void Ray very smartly is going to be going around, flying, scouting, and just picking off a bunch of these overlords. definitely what it needs to do at this point. Sacrificing a couple of Zerglings to see what's going on, but that's definitely worth it. And to be honest with you guys, OGS really doesn't have that much except for positioning and a couple of, just a couple of units. A very meager mix of units at this point compared to what he had before that big push of Ret. It looks like this Void Ray is going to be taking heavy damage from these 3 queens. He now has 4 queens out on the field. Great amount of queens. Will be able to spread a lot of creep. Will be able to use Transfuse a lot and just deal with these Void Rays very easily. And LiquidRet looks like he's recovering from this early game harassment, this early game cheese very well. And only now is oGs coming back into the macro game and being able to put up his Nexus and actually use this Expo, which he worked so hard for earlier on in the game. And these Zerglings have all game just been doing a great job of scouting what's going on. We have an evolution chamber that is going down right now. Surely it will be used for, my guess is either Carapace first, or what I would go for would be +1 attack, just because Zealots would go down so quickly, and you'd be able to take get rid of the Immortal very quickly, which you need to do when you have a Roach composition, because Immortals just do so much damage to Roaches. And it looks like this Expo will go down. These Hydras are not fast enough off of creep, and therefore we have to cancel it. And Ret will put it back right away. It looks like oGs might just swing around and try to do the same thing. He does in fact scout these Hydras. Will he risk it anyway? Looks like he's going to think about it a little bit. Meanwhile, we can just see a ton of warp gates being warped in, but it's kind of odd that we're getting a very large Zealot mix for oGs at this point. I would expect Stalkers, just for the pure reason that a very large Stalker composition army is just a very good against Roaches, especially with very well keyed placed force fields and an Immortal in your mix. I don't know why he's going for so many Zealots. A good amount of Hydras and Roaches will just plow through them right away. They do a pretty good tanking job, but definitely not cost effective at this point, I do not think. Do they even have charge? They don't even have charge, so it looks like we're going to get a confrontation. One Zealot does go down for free for Ret, and this one Observer will be scouting everything. And oGs decides that it is not worth going in at this point, but we actually had a little bit of a run by. These Zerglings are going to come in, attack this robotics facility, and not really get anything done. They are surrounded by all of these probes. Did take away a little bit of mining time, but he was going to be saturating his Expo anyway, so not much done there. But I wonder if he did scout that there was, yeah, he did scout the robotics base, so he does now know that there are in fact Colossi coming onto the field, which as a Zerg player you always have to expect when you do tech to Hydras. So this is starting to look like a pretty scary army here for oGs. He is not, oh, he already did get the Thermal Lance, so that's a 7 range for this Colossi, but oh no, he left it behind. He somehow forgot to bring it into his grouping. Oh, that is going to be a huge miss micro if he does not bring that along. It looks like, yes, he will be now. Maybe he wanted to keep it a surprise for now. It looks like he'll be maybe waiting for a time push, waiting for his 3rd Colossi, and then heading out. It's going to be a very close game, but Ret, seeing that robotics bay very smartly, is going to be getting Corruptors out, and they are just great against these Colossi, but it looks like these Colossi are just zapping everything in their way. These force fields are trapping all these Hydras right here, and the Zealots are just wreaking havoc on the front lines. All these Stalkers shooting safely behind the Zealots, and this Immortal dealing out huge damage to Roaches. And this Zerg army was just obliterated in seconds. It doesn't look like Ret has much of a chance to come back from this one, and he does call good game. Wow. I thought Ret was just doing a great job of spreading. Wow, look at this creep spread. That is a lot of tumors. He was doing a great job of what he was supposed to, macroing up, doing the best he could after such a tough beginning. losing all those roaches after he broke out of his containment. But in the end, the great composition from Protoss just did him in. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hobo for Craft signing out.